little unorthodox. I'm going to stand in front of the podium if that's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this used to be me. This used to be me in public school. But people like you wouldn't accept it. I used to be that young man that would take 20 minutes to take 4 steps. How many of you seen this guy? Hey, I'm just talking about young men today, but hey, if I were a young lady, I might have been the young lady to think that life was more important from the waist down than from the neck up. Have you seen her? She wears her pants so tightly, if she passed gas, she'd blow her shoes off. Ladies and gentlemen, when I say because of you, you say because of me. Because of you, I'm here today. I'm here because of you. Listen, this was me. In fact, I didn't have anybody role modeling these things for me. Yes, we all know it starts at home, but not every child comes from a home. You see, the tree is in the seed. And we got to stop killing seeds before they have the opportunity to grow. I might be dressed inappropriately. I understand that. And I want to thank every educator in this room who got my attention today. From that lady right there, ma'am, you understand relationships. No, really, without significant relationships, significant learning does not take place. That's right. You see, that lady understood it. You know what she said? I went beside her. She said, hey. I said, hey. She smiled. I smiled back. But then this is where she saved me. She didn't want me to get in trouble. She said, come here, baby. For those of you who don't understand that language, that means, I'm okay. So when I went closer, she just put her hand on my shoulder and pressed me down in the chair beside her. Ma'am, I appreciate you. You see, let me tell you something. See, if I pass all the tests, fill in all the bubbles, do all those things, but then I flunk life, then somebody's failed me. And ma'am, you weren't going to allow that to happen today. Stand up. Stand up. Give her a hand. Hold it. See, I won't talk about other people. There were a few people. No, really. There was a lady in the back. I asked her if I could sit beside her. She said the seat was taken. There's the seat still open. Now, I recognize some of you are looking at me like, that's the speaker? Like a deer in headlights. But this was me, young lady. This was me. But you, educators like you. And when I say educators, I'm talking about everybody that touches the life of a child. Because it didn't just start in the classroom. It started by a guy named Virgil Taylor who was pushing a dust mop in my school. Hold it. Yes, he was cleaning the school. And don't anybody frown on a custodian. Oh, you don't know? Hold it. For all the new educators out there, let me help you understand. They may look like they're only pushing a dust mop, but they're the keeper of school secrets. They know everything. You tell the principal you're going to leave at 2, they see when you really leave. No, she left at 1. Some man picked her up. They left in his car. But I want to thank that man for talking to me when everybody else bullied me. So I had a friend. He might have been an adult, but he was a friend. I want to thank the bus drivers who knew when my lights were off in my home and knew my teacher gave a lot of homework and I had a dark house to complete it, so my bus drivers would pretend to get lost so I could finish my homework. Honey, are you almost done? What problem are you on? I want to thank the school nurse. No, you go back and if they're not here, you go back and thank them. No, you want me to tell you why? Because sticks and stones may break my bones, but stereotypes will kill me. Looking at me today, does it mean I can't learn because I'm overdressed and burning up? Does it mean I can't learn? No, I want to thank that school nurse because she understood where I was from. I always ask superintendents, I always say, one of the best things you could do for orientation for educators in the beginning of the year, put them on a school bus and take them to the communities from where the children are coming from. Remind them of who's in their classrooms. Everybody was stereotyping me because my daddy wasn't in my life. My mom and dad divorced when I was 2. I didn't see my dad again until I was 18. One income, couldn't afford 2 households. We moved to the projects. My oldest brother, my hero Oscar, was murdered when I was only 11 years old. I had issues, y'all. And I walked around sometimes with them on my shoulder. And people were stereotyping me. They didn't know that we were poor. But people like you know what you told me? Poverty is not a disability. That's what you told me. So I'm walking around and people are saying, oh, that's young Adolph Brown. He's at risk. His father's not in his life. He lives in the inner city projects. They were wondering why I was walking like this all the time. And then the school nurse said, leave him alone. Leave him alone. He walks like that because he's constipated. He eats a lot of government cheese. Now, when you understand what I'm saying, everybody say real talk. Now, and I got to make sure that we're all on the same page because there's a legislation out there, and I don't particularly care for it, but we got to follow it to some degree. What is it? No child? What is it, Dennis? No child with the behind left because we're testing it off. No. As much as you do to support and encourage great public schools for every student, make sure you stay focused on legislation that does the same. Ladies and gentlemen, this was me, but you wouldn't allow it. You told me, and I listened to you. Yeah, mama said it at home, but sometimes I needed it when I got away from home. You told me that gentlemen didn't wear their hats indoors. No, you know why you told me that? Because you didn't want me to fail life. Everybody's running around talking about 21st century life skills. Let's talk about them. When I walk into the bank for my first business loan dressed like this, whether I'm white, green, yellow, or purple, I may not get approved. And it has nothing to do with self-efficacy. I may not get approved because I just don't look like I can pay it back. Everybody in the bank's going to disapprove me or look at me and go, ah! That's real talk. Now, you see, you told me I was a wannabe thug, and I listened. In elementary school, that fifth grade educator there, that's when I started hearing it in elementary school. You see, I'm from a group of educators that believed in getting me in the high chair so that I could avoid the electric chair. I didn't hear real talk. Some of them still looking at me, Jackie, like I'm not the speaker. They're like, when is the speaker coming on? You told me that gentlemen didn't wear their hats indoors, so I took mine off. You told me about this thing. What's this thing? No. If we want students to have great success, it's called a don't rag. Tell them to take off the don't rag and do your due. I had to find some clothes that fit me. You see, no. In elementary school, they told me the truth. Back when relationships, back when you didn't talk about students in the teacher's lounge, you talked about them to their face because you had relationships to say what needed to be said. No, nobody remembers the coach approach. How can coaches say whatever they need to say? You didn't give me your best. You come into my field again and do what you did, I'm going to bench you. What do kids say? Yes, ma'am. Let an educator try to do it without relationships. Donnie, you didn't bring in your homework, and if you do that again, film at 11, teacher assaulted in D.C. Relationships, everybody. Sometimes I'm not talking about new things. I'm just reminding us about the old things that we used to do well. I had to find some clothes that fit me because in elementary school, they told me, Adolph Brown, stop trying to be a wannabe thug. I'm like, what do you mean? They said, if your mama still picks you up from school, you're not a thug. She was right. So I found some clothes that fit me. Hold it. Put your money away, ma'am. Put your money away. Dennis, it is not this kind of conference. It is, ma'am, put your money away. Put your money away. Thank you. The tree is in the seed. And I'm this today because of you. Because of you. I'm here today. I'm here today only because of you. I was that child in elementary school. It took everybody. It took the entire village community. It took you. I mean, I was stinky sometimes. And I wasn't stinky by choice. I was stinky because my dad didn't send my mom child support in the way in which he was ordered to do so. So sometimes our water was turned off. But guess what? I still came to school. I might have been offensive to your olfactory glands. But I still came to school. And don't get sad when she's getting sad. I told you I was a stinky child. Come here, lady. Come here. Come on, treat it like it's The Price is Right. I don't have all day. Come on. Jamie, I saw you getting sad, and I don't want you to. I said I was a stinky child, not the stinky man. Smell me. Because of you. That's right, because of you. I wouldn't be here if it weren't. When teachers would tag team and make sure that they got my attention. They didn't send me to the office when I misbehaved. They knew learning wasn't taking place if I wasn't in the classroom. Oh, I didn't hear real talk there. No, in second grade, they empowered me to be the note carrier. They didn't want to destroy my academic self-concept. So I was the note carrier. I had to carry the note to another teacher. And I'd give it to her, and sometimes she would take like hours to write her back. She's like, no, just sit there, Adolph, in a few minutes, we'll go back. And I'd sit and wait. Then one day I opened the note up because I'm nosy. And the other educator wrote, if Adolph's having a rough time in my classroom today, can he sit with you a while? Do you remember when it was more about cooperation and collaboration and not competition? Do you remember those days? Come on, everybody. This is Team NEA. And y'all got to excuse me because I had on all those clothes. I'm hot. No, hold on. Oh, just wooing it for everything. It must have been a long school year for some people. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here because of you. And let me tell you something. I'm going to give you a framework to take back. I'm not the guy I don't want you talking about this 20 minutes just now. I want you talking about it later. I want you doing something about it later. You see, if this were a 100-story skyscraper on this side of the platform, everybody look up, 100 stories. All right, we're together. On this side of the stage, we had another 100-story skyscraper. Look up. All right, we're there. In between it, there's a tightrope of life. This is the best analogy I have for NEA's vision. A great public school for every student. We all want students to navigate this tightrope. But sometimes we forget that some of the students that we work with have been through more in their young lives than many of us have in our adult lives. Some of them haven't had people show them how to navigate this. Some of them are afraid. A lot of them don't have coping skills, coping strategies, or capacity to navigate this. This is where you come in. This is where you come in. Whether you're driving a school bus, I call that a classroom on wheels. Whether you're in a classroom, whether you're the first point. I call secretaries the chief tone setters. No, because you can diffuse a whole lot before it gets to somebody's office. How you answer the phone, hello. You can diffuse it. This is where you come in with your wheelbarrows. Everybody with me? Wheelbarrow. I see some young people, Jackie. Wheelbarrow, it's one wheel. It has two handles. It makes carrying the load easier. There you are, 100 stories high on a wheelbarrow with a tightrope. Every student should be able to ride in your wheelbarrow. But I got to tell you right now, okay, I don't have the time to go into this challenging student like I was, but there's some students that won't want to ride. And the reason being, they have issues of loss, abandonment, and bereavement. 1 out of 3 students in public education have that today. Loss, something I was supposed to have that I didn't have. For me, it was supposed to be a dad. Everybody else had one. Where was mine? But is it always so literal, educators? No. What if mama's there, but she has untreated mental illness? Is there a loss? What if daddy's there, but he's addicted to substances? Is there a loss? You better believe it. Those issues of loss then become issues of abandonment. I wondered why my dad wasn't there. Am I not good enough? Does he hate me? Now I'm grieving. Now I'm grieving. And I'm not grieving in a way in which most educators are trained to listen. I think I would have the support of the president if I told him, Because I'm sure he already knows that classroom management is the least taught subject to new educators today. Students aren't grieving in a way in which we're trained to listen. I've yet to have a student come up to me and say, "Excuse me, Dr. Brown, I'm experiencing cognitive dissonance. My inner child is repressed and I need to have a cathartic release. Can you help me with this transition?" I've yet to have a young person talk to me like that. When I do, I'm going to refer them to somebody else. They're talking. This means something. This means something. What it means is educator defensiveness. Educator defensiveness. What I'm going to do, I'm going to push you away. I'm going to push you away, ma'am, and I'm going to push you away until I see that you're not going to go away. Because it hurts to be let down and disappointed. So if my own dad, somebody's phone's ringing while I'm talking. Y'all know I have attention deficit. Whose phone's ringing? Your phone's ringing while I'm talking. Hold up. At Hampton University, President William R. Harvey, he came out and he said, "Dr. Brown, we got a problem. We're going to talk about it in the faculty forum." So he went in the faculty forum. This is when technology started surpassing humanity. He said, when a student's cell phone should ring and be disruptive to the academic milieu, we're going to expel them at once. I stood up in that forum. Every time I stand up, my colleagues laugh when I stand up. They know it's going to be something funny, but brilliant. I stood up. I said, "No way, Dr. Harvey," in front of like 500 of my colleagues. I'm not telling anybody in here to be insubordinate to an administrator. No, don't. I did it because I'm tenured. So I said, "No way, Dr. Harvey." He said, "Dr. Brown, since you feel that way, go back to your school." At the time, I was Dean of Liberal Arts and Education. He said, "Go back to your school, and if you can help us solve this problem, we'll all follow your lead." So I went back and I told my faculty, basically the title of my dissertation, "I can teach anyone anything once I get their attention." Ladies and gentlemen, I just say it real hip, but I didn't invent it. There was a guy, I sometimes forget that guy's name, Benjamin something, Bloom, I think. Benjamin Bloom said, before a child will value education, they have to attend to it. I say, I can teach anyone anything once I get their attention. So I told my faculty, this is what we're going to do. We're going to write in the syllabus, if a student's cell phone should ring and be disruptive to the academic environment, the professor gets to answer the phone. How come it was always the young ladies whose phone would ring in my class? Ring, ring, ring. I said, "Hold it. You know the deal. Give it up." And I would answer their phone. No, the only reason I can do this, ladies and gentlemen, is because of relationships. Do not try to do this without a relationship. It will go somewhere else. Are you with me? So I'd answer the phone in my best Barry White impression. Are you looking? Barry Manilow impression? Okay, good. You know who he is. Good. You have to be diverse. So I'd answer the phone. "Hello?" How come the boyfriend would need to be in my classroom as well? The boyfriend said, "Who this is?" Who this is? I was thinking to myself, haven't you heard of simple subject-verb agreement? I said, "Don't you worry about that right now. She's in my house. And I'll be done with her in 50 minutes. They don't bring their phones back to my class. My question to everybody in this room, who's in your wheelbarrow? When I say who's in your wheelbarrow, you say every student. Who's in your wheelbarrow? You see, every student has to be in your wheelbarrow. When I say every student, I know it's fun to carry gifted learners. Hold it. See, you're good for more than one thing. Look, you know what she said? She talked to me when I was sitting down. Then she just called me over here. She said, "Check yourself out." So I'm like, Thank you. I know you're great at what you do. It's fun to carry the teacher pleasers. It's fun to carry the student athletes. But do you have room for every student? Do you have room for the young Adolph Browns of the world? Do you have room for the students that are on the other side of the tracks? The student that doesn't know the classroom etiquette. The student that you're going to have to be more than an educator. You're going to have to be a social worker. You're going to have to be a mediator. You're going to have to be everything for that. Are you ready for that? You see, everybody should be in your wheelbarrow. And it's not just that student on that side of the tracks. In this room, sir, you're leaving? You're leaving. Come here for a minute. Come here, Andre. Classroom management is my forte. Good educators see everything. So I saw you leaving. Andre, I don't know where you have to go, but I want you to know, just because when you leave, this room will change. Your positive energy will be gone. So Andre, I just want you to know, I will miss you. Everybody, give it up for Andre. Everybody should be in your wheelbarrow. The student on the other side of the track. You know that student, the student that we all created. That's a student with a huge sense of entitlement. Those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, they aren't the have-nots. Those are the haves, and it's backfired on this generation. We've given them so much, they're expecting more. They have a lot of privilege and not too much responsibility. You got to have room for everybody. No, I have some in my home. No, I have a daughter, middle daughter, told me, gonna text me from the other room, what's for dinner? Everybody should be in your wheelbarrow. In fact, before I go today, you should have room for my children in your wheelbarrow. In fact, no, before I tell you about my children, let me find out how many you have. Parents of one child. Parents of two children. All right, NEA. Any parents of 3 or more? Slow learners like myself. I'm the proud father of 7 wonderful children. Don't clap for that. Don't ever clap for a man for the number of children he has. That was easy. It was. No, you guys don't clap for me. Give it up for my bride, Marla. Marla, stand in the back. Marla, stand. Could I see my children? Put my children up. Just let them see what my kids look like. You see, ladies and gentlemen, you want to talk about policy and doing the right thing? Let me tell you, it's a shame in the year 2012, I got to say this. What's behind every successful black man? No, the police. It's a shame. It's a shame. Team NEA. We got to do it, Team NEA. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to have room for Kyle. That's the one with the big hair. You see, somebody almost left Kyle out of the wheelbarrow because Kyle loved music. He was our artsy-fartsy child. Kyle's now a music engineer, but we almost lost him because in high school, some people didn't understand our Kyle. You see, they didn't understand NEA because you get it, and you've been getting it. In fact, they thought our son Kyle, there was no hope for him after high school. Needless to say, our son Kyle has a recording arts degree, and he got his first Grammy acknowledgement through producing a song for Kanye West. Give it up for Kyle. You got room for the Kyles of the world. Clap your hands. Hold it. Leah, the one in the red shirt, that's Leah. That's our daughter. She just graduated 4 weeks ago from the University of Pennsylvania. I want you to do the math. Hold it. Do the math. Leah just turned 20 years old. You get it? Get it? Gifted learner. Takes after my wife. I married up. However, Leah does not have a CS degree. So you got to make sure you CS degree. Y'all don't know what a CS degree is? That's right. That's right. Common sense. Hold it. No. It's important to have a CS degree. Well, I won't tell you. And actually, this story is true. It wasn't in a public school, so I'm glad about that. But I was in a school, and I told some educators at the beginning of the school year, we need the CS degree back in education. There was an educator in the back of the room that stood up and said, yes, child psychology. I didn't say anything. They don't Leah was late to her freshman orientation because in high school, she was driving in a high school parking lot, ran in the back of a minivan mom, put her car in reverse, then got on the side of the lady, rolled her passenger side window down and said, I'm sorry, and drove home. Where I'm from, ladies and gentlemen, I pride myself on little things. Like the police have never been to my home. Leah calls the police to come to our home. The police ring the doorbell. She lets them in. She's skipping around. Mom, Dad, the police are here. They were there to give her a citation for hit and run. Do you have room for the Leahs of the world in your wheelbarrow? Clap your hands if you do. Next is our son Adolph. He has on the 102.1 shirt. Let me tell you, Adolph is a sophomore in college, but Adolph used to have it backwards. You got to have room in your wheelbarrow for those children to have it backwards. Remember your 3F's for your wheelbarrow. Got to be fair. That means you got to carry every student at the same time. Got to carry every student at the same time. If I'm not in your wheelbarrow and I don't see people who talk like me, behave like me, who look like me, I'm going to think you don't like people like me. You got to be fair. You got to be firm. This is where we drop the ball quite a bit. Every child needs consistency, structure, limits, and boundaries. Don't write it down. Just tell them like my mama told me growing up. She said, Burger King may have great burgers, but you can't have it your way. And last but not least, you got to have fun. If you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. Remember those 3 F's. Adolph was an athlete student, ladies and gentlemen. Get it? Athlete student. He got it backwards for a long time. He forgot that education had to be the foundation because he was so good. So good. He came home because the PE teacher one day told him he should think about the NBA. He came home and said, Daddy, Mr. Johnson told me I should think about the NBA. What do you think? I said, look how tall your father is. Clap if you have room for your Adolphs of the world. Who's your Adolphs? Next. Oh, I'm sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, Adolph's going to college to be a middle school teacher. Miranda's next. Miranda has on the black tank top. Miranda is going to be a freshman at Virginia Wesleyan. Let me tell you about Miranda. Miranda was our late bloomer. Guess what? It's okay if they bloom late. You know, if they use a little bit of common sense when they develop that legislation, no child, whatever it is, they use common sense. Does every child learn the same thing? The same way? In the same time? We wouldn't have it if somebody used common sense. Miranda was a late bloomer. We knew it in elementary school. And the principal didn't know. He reinforced all the other students, but not our Miranda. In fact, no, because everybody had bumper stickers. Our daughter's a gifted learner. My son is this, soars, straight A's. We were going to get our own bumper sticker for Miranda. Our daughter is a C- student, and we love her anyway. I knew Miranda was going to be a late bloomer. I came home from Oklahoma. I was in Oklahoma City, and when I came home, her elementary school teacher called me at the time. She said, Dr. Brown, we would love for you to come out and speak to us about your experiences, your Japanese culture. I'm like, sure, but how did you choose me? She said, Miranda said, you just returned from Okinawa. I said, no, Oklahoma. Clap if you have room for the Mirandas of the world in your wheelbarrow. Ladies and gentlemen, next is Xavier. He's the one with his head tilted. He's a class clown. Where does he get this? Where does he get? He's a class clown in the family. Where does he get this? Where does he get it? You know where he gets it? I don't know. But look, he had a teacher in elementary school that gave everybody a different 2-page assignment. And I love this teacher because she understood rigor, relevance, relationships, and real talk. So she gave everybody a different 2-page assignment. She wasn't afraid of grading all those papers. So guess what? All Xavier had to write about was a relevant issue. She said, Xavier, I want you to write a 2-page essay on the first black man in space. My son Xavier wrote a 2-page essay on Darth Vader. Clap if you have room for the Xaviers of the world in your wheelbarrow. Ladies and gentlemen, my daughter, who's kind of stretched out on the picture, she's stretched out not because she wants to be, she's stretched out because she has to be. Dana came to us 2.5 months early. She was a premature child. As a result of Dana's premature arrival, Dana was diagnosed with hydrocephalus and cerebral palsy. Our daughter Dana has a tube in her brain that runs behind her ear, behind her chest cavity, drains in her tummy. It's called a shunt. She's had about 9 shunt revisions since birth. That's just a nice way of saying my daughter has had 9 neurosurgeries. Ladies and gentlemen, I thought I was an educator until Dana came. I thought I was, but now I really realize what it's all about. You see, now I sit on the other side of the table. I remember being a middle school educator and wanting to be an administrator. And I was in those IEP meetings, waiting for my chance to articulate, waiting to pontificate, waiting for a break to defecate. I was in these meetings. And now I have Dana. Now I sit on the other side of the table. And I secretly wish I could go back and speak to all of those parents again now that I have a Dana. You see, now it's not a case study. Now it's not something the professor gave us and we're going to sit down as a group and triage it. Now I live it. Dana has taught me more about life than any person I know. There was a famous psychoanalyst. His name was Sigmund Freud. He talked about two types of people in life. He said you're either a basement person or a balcony person. NEA is full of balcony people. You see, balcony people are the cheerleaders for others. Balcony people are the people that say, hey, we're cheering, we're going to do what's right, we're going to make sure there's a great public education for every student. That's balcony people. But on the other hand, he also talked about basement people. Basement people are the people who wake up every single day looking for an opportunity to be offended. They're toxic to any organization because it only takes one sale to cause cancer. Make sure if you know anybody that's in the basement and on team NEA, don't kick them out. Bring them to the balcony. Real talk? Dana's a balcony child. Last but not least, you see Jordan. That's Jordan. Jordan's 9 years old. Jordan is, no real stories about him other than he's like really, really bright and inquisitive. He's the type of child. He asked me recently, he said, Dad, do you think aliens ask each other, do you believe in humans? However, ladies and gentlemen, we call Jordan J-Lo. That stands for Jordan Last One. Give it up for my family. Listen, I got to go. But before I go, when I say because of you, I need you to say because of me. Because of you! Because of me. At 4 years old, they called me at risk. They called me at risk, but I had to become a research scientist to understand that everybody that uses that term doesn't know if they're using it correctly, statistically or proportionately. At risk. I could have grown up with an anxiety condition, thinking something was going to fall on me. At risk of what? But you know what you told me? From the custodian that had the dust mop, from the nurse that I would go there sometimes to wash up, from the bus driver that allowed me to do my homework when my lights were off in my home, from the educator in the classroom who would own things when I knew it was me, when I knew I might not have been the one to smell good, and she would say, you know what, ladies and gentlemen, let me take my sweater off because it doesn't smell too good today. She would own it. You told me I was at risk of success. And I believed you. At 13 years old, I lived on the other side of the tracks. Because of you. They called me a juvenile delinquent. But you told me it's not where you're from, young man. It's going to be about the choices you make to where you're headed. At 26 years old, which was a long time ago in my life, I almost have a son that age. At 26 years old, because of you, they called me something else. Ladies and gentlemen, Team NEA, because of you, because of you, because of you, Jackie, at 26 years old, they called me Dr. Adolph Brown. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's the charge. Here's the charge. I know that a lot of people don't see this. I know a lot of people don't know the tree is in the seed. I know a lot of people don't understand that genetics load the gun, because I didn't have a choice in my hue, neither did you. Genetics loaded this gun, but environment pulls the trigger. There are a lot of people that can't look at every child they see and see this. But Team NEA, you can. You can. You can see this. And guess what? We know that not every child wants to be a doctor. But whatever it is that they want to be, a brick mason, a nail technician, a lawyer. Our president is laying the foundation to let us know that we can do that too. Whatever it is they want to do, they can do it if you put them in the wheelbarrow. You have to support great schools for every student. But you got to be there to support that legislation that does the same. You see, ladies and gentlemen, this is what you did for me. But let me show you really how it happens. Because sometimes some of us don't realize it's overtime and not overnight. I need a volunteer. Come on up. Come on up, young man. Come on up. Come on up right here. What's your name? Jalen. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what sometimes we don't see. Because, you get some people that are sprinters and not long-distance runners. They don't stay around long enough. You see, this isn't unique to an Adolph Brown. You see, they helped me. Team NEA helped me do this. And you see, Jalen, let me show you something. Yes, it's hard work. Yes, I had to study. Yes, I had to be disciplined and focused to keep my eye on doing the right thing. Yes, I had to listen to my dad and my mom. I called my granddaddy Dad. But I want you to see something, Jalen. You see, Jalen, in the back of this tag, you see all those people? Because of you. In the back of this tag, you see what that says? One size fits all. Jalen, what's your last name? Ladies and gentlemen, because of you, I present to you the future Dr. Jalen Fetterman. Thank you, NEA.